It's Sunday night. You just checked your bank account. The balance is lower than you expected. Again, you have a payment due on Tuesday. You're not sure if you can cover it. You feel that familiar tightness in your chest, that low-grade anxiety that lives in the background of every day. The feeling that you're one emergency away from disaster. Here is the truth that nobody tells you. That feeling has a cost, not just emotional, financial. When you live in survival mode, you make expensive decisions. You take the high-interest loan because you need cash now. You pay the late fee because you forgot the due date. You avoid looking at your investments because you're scared, so your money sits in a checking account earning nothing while inflation eats it alive. The average person in financial survival mode leaks between $300 and $500 a month, not because they're bad with money, because they're exhausted. And exhaustion is expensive. I know because I lived this. I made good money, but at the end of every month, I had nothing to show for it. I thought I needed to earn more, so I worked more. More hours, more stress, more takeout because I was too tired to cook, more impulse buys because I felt deprived and deserved a treat. That is the cycle, and it has nothing to do with your salary. So let me ask you something. What would change in your life if you didn't have to think about money every single day? That is what this playbook is for. Not to make you rich overnight, not to teach you complicated investing strategies, but to get you from survival mode to stability, from stability to confidence, and from confidence to peace. Here is what we are going to cover. First, find every leak in your financial life. Second, prioritize what to fix first. Third, build an automatic system that moves your money without you thinking about it. And fourth, put up a protection layer so when life happens, you don't get derailed. Grab a pen, open a notes app, get your bank login ready. Start with a question. What is keeping you up at night about money? For me, it was the fear of a car repair. That fear is expensive. It keeps you from making good decisions. Here's your first step. Download your last 3 months of bank statements. Print them. Highlight every transaction that is not rent, not utilities, not groceries. Everything else. Subscriptions, takeout, late fees, coffee. Add them up. When I did this, it was almost $1,000 a month. Not because I was bad with money, because I had no system. Cancel 3 subscriptions today. Call your bank and ask them to refund 1 late fee. And set one simple rule. That's it. You've started. And starting is the hardest part. Now that you have highlighted your leaks, let me show you the 4 categories where almost everyone loses money. And I am going to give you a specific fix for each one. Category 1 is what I call death by 1,000 cuts. Small recurring purchases you do not think about. The $6 coffee, the $14 lunch, the $9 app subscription. Alone, none of these matter. Together, they easily add up to $300 to $500 a month. Here is the fix. Do not try to eliminate them. That will not work. You will feel deprived and then binge spend. Instead, redirect them. Set up a separate small account or a specific envelope in your budgeting app. Put a fixed amount in there each month for guilt-free small purchases. When it is gone, it is gone. No shame, just the boundary. Category 2 is subscriptions. This one is sneaky because companies make it hard to cancel. Gym memberships, streaming services, software subscriptions, box deliveries. I found a subscription for a service I had not used in 2 years. Here is the fix. Go through your credit card statement and highlight every recurring charge. Cancel every single one you haven't used in the past 30 days. You can always sign up again. Most of them you will not miss. Category 3 is fees. Late fees, ATM fees, overdraft fees, foreign transaction fees. These are pure waste. You get nothing for them. Here is the fix. Set up automatic payments for every bill that has a fixed amount. Rent, mortgage, insurance, loan payments. For variable bills like credit cards, set up at least the minimum payment to autopay. Then call every bank or company that charged you a fee in the past 3 months. Ask politely for a refund.
I have done this dozens of times. It works more often than not. Category 4 is interest. This is the most expensive leak of all. Credit card interest at 22% means you are paying $22 a year for every $100 you carry. On $5,000 of debt, that is over $1,000 a year in interest alone. Money that could be in your pocket. Here is the fix. Call your credit card company and ask for a lower interest rate. Tell them you're considering a balance transfer to another card. Often they will lower it just to keep you. Then whatever debt has the highest interest rate, put every extra dollar toward that one first. Now, let me tell you about something most financial gurus get wrong.
They say you should pay off the smallest debt first for psychological wins. That is the snowball method. It works for some people. But if you carry high interest debt, the math does not work. Let me show you the difference. Imagine two debts. One is $500 at 5% interest. The other is $5,000 at 22% interest. The snowball method says pay the $500 first. You get a win quickly. But while you do that, the $5,000 debt is growing at 22%. The avalanche method says pay the highest interest first. Yes, it takes longer to get that first win, but you save hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Which one is right for you? That depends on your personality. If you need small wins to stay motivated, do the snowball. If you can stay disciplined without those wins, do the avalanche. But here is a third option. Do both. Pay minimums on everything. Then take any extra money and split it. 70% toward the highest interest debt, 30% toward the smallest debt. Now, here is a tool that changed everything for me. A simple spreadsheet. List every debt, balance, interest rate, minimum payment. Sort by interest rate, highest to lowest. That is your attack order. Look at your budget. How much extra can you put toward debt each month? Even $50 makes a difference. On $5,000 at 22%, adding $50 a month cuts years off your payment and saves over $2,000 in interest. I know what some of you are thinking. I do not have an extra $50. But remember your leaks. The average person is leaking at least $200 a month. Cancel one subscription, stop one late fee, cut one small purchase a week. That is your $50. So here is your assignment. Go through your statements, find 3 leaks, just 3. Cancel them or fix them. Then take that money and put it toward your highest interest debt. That is it. Do not try to fix everything. Just 3 leaks, 1 week. You can do that.
Now let us talk about something that confuses almost everyone. The difference between good debt and bad debt, and why you should not treat all debt the same. Bad debt is debt that costs you more than it gives you. Credit card debt at 22%, payday loans at 300%, car loans on depreciating assets. This kind of debt keeps you poor. Attack it aggressively. Good debt is debt that enables something that grows in value or increases your income. A mortgage on a home that appreciates. Student loans for a degree that leads to higher earnings. A business loan that generates profit. This kind of debt is a tool. Use it carefully, but do not fear it. Here is the mistake most people make. They try to pay off all debt equally. They put a little extra on the credit card, a little extra on the car loan, a little extra on the mortgage. That feels balanced, but it is inefficient. Instead, you want to stack your priorities. Bad debt first, always. Credit cards before car loans before student loans before mortgage. But there is one exception. If any of your debt is in collections or past due, that moves to the top of the list, regardless of interest rate, because the fees and credit damage from collections are brutal. Now, let me tell you something that might surprise you. You do not need to be debt-free to be financially stable. I know that goes against what many gurus say, but the data is clear. People who carry some low-interest debt but have a fully funded emergency fund and retirement savings are in better shape than people who are debt-free but have no savings. Why? Because life happens. If you put every dollar toward debt and have no savings, one car repair or medical bill puts you right back into credit card debt. You end up in a cycle. Pay down debt, emergency hits, back into debt, repeat. The way to break that cycle is to build your protection layer before you become debt-free. So here is the priority stack we are going to use.
This is the order of operations for your money. Number 1, make all minimum payments on everything. Never miss a minimum payment. Number 2, build a starter emergency fund of $1,000. Number 3, attack high-interest bad debt, anything over 10%. Number 4, build a full emergency fund of 3 to 6 months of expenses. Most people try to skip steps. They invest before they have an emergency fund, or they pay off low-interest debt before retirement savings. Follow the stack. It works. Now, let me walk you through exactly how to build that starter emergency fund.
Because I know that can feel impossible when you are living paycheck to paycheck. Look back at your leak audit. Find 3 subscriptions you can cancel. Find 1 small purchase you can skip each week. Call your bank and get 1 late fee refunded. Add all of that up. That is your first $100. Put it in a separate savings account, not your checking account, a different account. Then do it again and again. $1,000 sounds like a lot, but $100 at a time over 10 weeks, it is done. And most people watching this can find $100 a week in leaks. I promise you, it is there. You just have to look. Now, what if you have a large emergency before you hit $1,000? That is okay. That is why you are building it. If an emergency happens and wipes out your progress, you start again. That is not failure. That is life. The only failure is not trying. Let me tell you a story. A friend of mine was following this exact system. She had saved $800 of her starter emergency fund when her car broke down. The repair cost $700. She paid it from her emergency fund. She was upset, but she was also fine. The car was fixed. She was not in new debt, and she rebuilt the fund over the next 2 months. That is the difference a system makes. Without the fund, that repair goes on a credit card. With the fund, it is just a temporary setback. So here is your assignment for this week. Open a separate savings account, just a free one. Name it something that matters to you. I named mine Peace of Mind. Set a small automatic transfer, even $5 a week. Then look for 1 leak to plug, just 1, and put that money into the account. You are not trying to save $1,000 this week. You are trying to start. That is all.
Now we get to the most important part of the entire playbook, the part that changed my financial life more than anything else. You do not need more discipline. You need fewer decisions. Every time you make a decision about money, you use a little bit of willpower. By the end of the day, after decisions about work, family, traffic, email, your willpower is depleted. That is when you order takeout instead of cooking. That is when you buy something you do not need. That is when you forget to pay a bill. The solution is not to try harder. The solution is to remove the decision entirely. Here is how I did it. I opened 2 checking accounts, both free, both at the same bank, so transfers were instant. Account 1 is my bills account. Account 2 is my spend account. Then I did the math on my fixed expenses: rent or mortgage, utilities, insurance, debt minimum payments, groceries, gas, any subscription I decided to keep. I added all of that up. Then I divided by how many paychecks I get each month. For me, that number was about $1,400 per paycheck. I set up an automatic transfer. Every time I get paid, $1,400 moves into the bills account instantly. The rest stays in my spend account. The bills account pays everything automatically. Rent comes out on the 1st, utilities on the 15th, credit card minimums on their due dates. I never touch this account. I never think about it. The spend account is my guilt-free money. I can spend it on anything. Coffee, takeout, movies, a new shirt. No tracking, no categories, no shame. And here is the magic. Because I already plugged my leaks and built my emergency fund, the spend account never runs out before the next paycheck. Not because I have more discipline, because I removed the chance to fail.
Now let me show you how to set it up for yourself. Step 1. List all of your fixed monthly expenses. Add them up. That is your monthly fixed number. Step 2. Divide that number by how many paychecks you get each month. Step 3. Open a second checking account if you do not already have one. Step 4. Set up an automatic transfer from your main account to your bills account for the amount from Step 2. Schedule it for the day after each payday. Step 5.
Set up automatic bill pay from your bills account for every fixed expense. Step 6, set up an automatic transfer to your emergency fund, even $10 a paycheck. Step 7, forget about the bills account. Check it once a month. Otherwise, do not touch it. That is it. You are done. Your system is built. Now let me talk about the protection layer, because a system only works if it can survive life.
The protection layer has 3 parts. Part 1 is your emergency fund. 3 to 6 months of expenses in a separate savings account. For job loss, medical emergencies, major car repairs. Not for vacations, not for a new phone. Real emergencies only. Part 2 is insurance. Health insurance, car insurance, home or renter's insurance, disability insurance if your job does not provide it. Insurance is the difference between a setback and a disaster. Part 3 is what I call the life happens buffer. An extra $100 to $200 in your checking account above what you need for bills. It covers the small surprises, a gift for a birthday you forgot, a slightly higher utility bill, a last-minute school expense. With these 3 layers, you are protected. A car repair is annoying, but not devastating. A medical bill is frustrating, but not crippling. A job loss is scary, but you have months to figure it out. That is financial peace. Not being rich, being protected. Now, let me tell you something that might surprise you. Once you have this system in place, you will probably start saving money without even trying, because the system is doing the work. I have seen this happen with dozens of people. They set up the 2 accounts, build the emergency fund, and 6 months later, there is extra money in their spend account because they stopped leaking, because they stopped making expensive stress decisions, because the system removed the friction. That extra money can go anywhere. More debt payoff, more investing, a vacation, whatever matters to you. But here is the most important thing. You have to start. Not tomorrow, not next week, today. So here is your assignment. Before you close this video, do one thing. Just one. Open that second checking account. It takes 5 minutes. Most banks let you do it entirely on your phone. That is it. Do not set up the transfers yet. Do not move money. Just open the account. That one action changes something in your brain. It turns you from someone who is thinking about fixing their finances into someone who is doing it. Tomorrow, set up the automatic transfer. The day after, set up the bill pays. Break it into small steps. In 1 week, you will have a system that works for years. 6 months from now, you can be in the same place you are today. Stressed, tired, wondering where your money went. Or you can be in a different place. Stable, protected, free from the constant low-grade anxiety about money. That choice is yours. The system works, but it only works if you use it. So go open that account. Take care of yourself, and take care of your wallet.